Grind King might have just changed the game big time and made rail skating so much easier with these locker trucks. There has been so much technology and innovation packed into these trucks, which I won't be able to cover in just one video. So for today, we'll just be focusing on the hanger design here and if this actually helps you lock into grinds easier and hold them longer. So as you can see, the design of the hanger here has these two big grooves towards each end that is designed to help you lock into grinds easier and help hold them longer and more comfortably. The premise behind this is that once you've skated trucks for a few months, you've naturally worked these grooves into your trucks after doing lots of grinds, especially feeble and crooked grinds. You get these natural grooves in these positions here on your own just from grinding, which makes it a lot easier to lock back into these grinds since the grooves kind of slot straight over the rail into that position. But this usually happens at the end of the life of the trucks, since it does take a few months to initially get those grooves in, and then the more you're grinding in those grooves, the more you're going to wear in towards the axle inside, and by this point the trucks are already worn in and coming towards the end of their life. So Donald, the founder of Grind King, came up with the idea of pre-grooving the trucks. So you're getting that nice lock-in that locks in easier and comfortably, like worn-in trucks do, but at the beginning of the life of the truck, when it's at its strongest and has the most life ahead of it. This is actually a really good idea and design on paper, and the way that they've designed their U-beam axle sits further below inside of the hanger, so you've still got a lot of room to grind down into these grooves before you even reach the axle. So these are designed to last long as well, not just last half the time because the grooves are already cut into it. Before I do get into skating these today, I want to give a massive shout out and thank you to Donald for organizing these to be sent to me. I don't know how he heard of me or came across me, but he hit me up asking if I'd be interested in trying his new trucks, which are these, the Locker. He introduced himself, said that he's seen me skating a lot of rails, which is what these trucks are designed for, asked if I was interested in trying a pair and giving him my honest feedback about the trucks and how they perform. Obviously, mostly what I do on my skateboard is grind legend rails, so I was super keen to test these out. So I thought I was the perfect person to actually put these to the test, since at least 90% of my skating is grinding. So massive thanks to Donald for hooking it up, getting these sent to me, and I even got to choose the size and color I wanted. I skate 9-inch trucks and 8.75 is the biggest I had at the time, and I don't really like colored trucks, so I went with the plain silver, and they actually look pretty sick. I'm going to chuck them on this 9.25-inch egg board, which has an 8.75-inch width over the trucks, which these will suit perfectly. But I'm going to have to warm up a little bit and get used to this setup first before I get into all of the lock-in tests, because it is a little bit smaller than what I usually ride. I do have a few concerns about this truck though, and some problems that could arise as I'm skating them. But before I talk about them and get into all of the lock-in tests and see if this actually helps you lock in easier and hold grinds easier, let's chuck this setup together, have a quick little warm up to get used to it, and it's actually freezing out here too, so I want to warm my body up. So let's get started. This setup's actually feeling good. I thought it would take a lot longer to get used to a smaller board, but it is only a 1/4 inch smaller at 925, and the trucks are only a 1/4 inch smaller at 875. It was super hard to resist grinding as I was warming up, but I wanted to get used to this board 100% so then I could properly tell the difference between my normal trucks and these locker trucks. And the sun's finally coming out, so I'm able to defrost a little bit. But let's talk about the concerns I have with these trucks. So my biggest concern about these wheels is the lock-in point is usually hard up against the inside of your wheel, whether it's the toe side or the heel side. With these trucks, the lock-in grooves have already been determined on the trucks without consideration of what wheels you're riding. So depending on the size or the width of your wheel, this groove could land pretty much on the inside of the wheel like it's supposed to, pretty much like these ones. Or if you've got wider wheels, it'll come into here and the lock-in point will be way inside here. On the other end, with a nano cubic wheel where it's pushed out over the end of the axle and the inside of the wheel is pretty much right on the inside of the hanger, the outside of the hanger, your wheel is going to be sitting so far out and the lock-in point hard up against that wheel is going to be on this weird kind of point position here. So you're definitely going to have to suit the wheels that you're riding to these trucks. You can't just ride any wheels on these these trucks. I think wider wheels won't be a problem since you'll be sitting inside of that groove, but nano cubics or any thinner wheels where the hanger is exposed, you're gonna have trouble trying to lock in on that and it'll just slip into that groove. I feel like that'll just be a bit of a mess if you have smaller wheels. My other concern is since the hanger has these two grooves on either side, that makes the center of the hanger stick out and higher than the rest of it. This could cause problems on different combination grinds like feebles to back lips or feeble grinds to back smiths, where you're needing to shift from one wheel to the other wheel to lock in. So for a feeble to back smith, for an example, you're on the heel side wheel locked in, which is in this groove here, and then you need to kind of climb out of that groove over that bit of the hanger and back into the other groove to get a toe side lock for the backsmith. I haven't done any grinds or tried any of those tricks with these trucks yet, so I could be completely wrong, but they are definitely two concerns I have about these trucks. Either way, these trucks have worn in. I actually don't have the tool to tighten them, so they come pretty good actually. Haven't tightened them, haven't loosened them. I put them on the center base plate holes because I don't want to mess around with my wheelbase yet. I've got so much to cover in the next video. Today's just going to be about the lock-ins here, but they're feeling really good, they're light, and I'm used to the setup now, so I think it's about damn time I got into some grinds. So I'm pretty much going to start on that rail, hop on some crosslock back 50s straight away, no practice or anything, so I can feel firsthand exactly how it feels to lock into a round rail with these lock-in grooves. So this is going to be my 100% honest first try at grinding today. I haven't done any grinds or stalls or anything. I'm going to jump straight onto a back 50 on this rail, see if I can feel the difference straight away and see if it helps, just so I can show you guys if there is a difference or not, or if I can feel one or not. But let's try and get this first try and just hop straight on. That actually felt amazing. So I crosslock back 50 round rails. I do it so much, it's so fun. Once I learned that trick, I've just been doing them ever since, and you guys are probably sick of me even doing that trick. You're probably sick of seeing it. But the crosslock, look at that. That just sits there actually. The crosslock creates the most supportive surface for you to lock in and hold. So that just then felt like there was no shift, there was no chance of it even moving or rotating over, like rotating this way or this way. That felt fully locked in. That was actually crazy. I do feel really good when I have new trucks and I'm doing grinds on rails, so it could be the fact that they have those grooves, or it could be the fact that they're brand new trucks, or both. But I'm probably gonna do 5 more crosslock back 50s on this rail so you guys can see it from different angles and judge for yourself if it looks like it's helping. And then I'll get into other tricks and skating different things and different tricks on this rail, but that felt pretty damn good for the first try. But let's do 5 more. Yeah, these are sick. It is very early on in the session, but I'm loving these so much already. Those lock-in grooves feel sick. Yeah, I can do those tricks already, and I have done on normal trucks without the grooves, but it feels like you were just straight slotted over the top of the rail and there's no movement. Usually when I'm in a long back 50 on a rail, I can feel myself having to stay on top because I pinch so hard, it wants to go to one side that way or this side. With these grooves, it felt like it was slotted in straight on top. My board was flat and straight and there was no shifting at all. It felt amazing actually, but it is still pretty early to tell. So I'm going to continue skating the round bar a little bit. I have to do other pinch tricks like feeble grinds and crooked grinds and those type of moves. See how the front 50s feel because I double heel side lock them. I don't cross lock them on round rails. And then after the round bar, I will hit the square rail and then the ledges after to see how these different pinch grinds and just grinds in general lock in on different sorts of obstacles. And if these trucks actually help, but they are feeling so good so far. So let's get back into it and skate the round rail a little bit more. Yeah, that felt fine. Not like the hanger got in the way at all. I swear I just landed the best feeble to hurricane I've ever done. Hyped as, come over to my camera to stop recording and realized it had overheated and it didn't even catch it. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But how did the trucks go? As I said, they were amazing straight off the bat, didn't take any time to wear in. They weren't too loose, they weren't too tight, and I didn't even tighten or loosen them. This setup did feel lighter, and the base plate is really hollowed out. They've taken a lot of weight out of like the whole truck where it doesn't need to be. And the kingpin's hollow, but the trucks are a 1/4 inch smaller and so is the board. So this should feel lighter to me anyway. But that's the main thing I noticed. When it came to the lock-ins, yes, these helped lock in and stay in really stable the whole time, especially on those cross lock grinds and on the feebles on the round rail. Crooked grinds on round rails were the same. Yes, you can already do that without having the grooves, but it felt like that just slot over the top and you didn't have to worry about balancing left and right. You just had to have your weight on it and it would go. The crooked grinds on the ledge and the square rail felt exactly the same too. It's a sharper edge, so it should have a sharper lock in. Nose grind felt good on the ledge. That was first try and it felt like that groove just locked me up hard against the ledge, but I do that trick a lot, so this could be subjective. This could be a bit of a placebo at that point. But what I did notice the most when it comes to skating the ledge is back 50s, I go hard up toe side anyway. On the front 50s, I do the same, double heel side lock, but I didn't manage to lock hard up to my wheels, so my truck started shifting, but because of the hanger in the middle being a little bit elevated compared to the grooves, that kind of stopped me from slipping out. So I feel like if you've got a really long ledge and you want to do a front 50 or a back 50 or like a 5/0 or nose grind, this hanger in the center being elevated, even though it's not elevated, just compared to the lock-in grooves here, that being elevated will stop you from slipping away from the ledge. So I think that'll really be helpful on long grinds and ledges. Front 50s on the round bar felt really good. Like the rest of the tricks, it just slotted straight in, but I'm not very good at that trick anyway on round rails, but this gave me peace of mind that this would just slot in exactly over the rail, which it did. It just, the hardest point for me was getting my weight on top of the rail because it is a scary trick for me, front 50s. I'm much more suited to backside grinds and backside cross locks. If I could cross lock front 50s, I would, but I can only do it double heel side. But they felt really secure on the round rail. And the biggest thing I noticed when it comes to skating the square rail, sometimes doing long feeble grinds, I end up slipping out of the grind because it is a 90-degree angle on the edge of the rail. You have to be pinched really hard. It's not like a round rail where you can kind of play with the angle. You have to be pinched really hard because it's 90 degrees, but it didn't feel like I was at any risk of slipping out of that feeble and going to board slide, thanks to that big chunky groove there along my wheel. Now, when it came to the hurricane to feeble, like I was saying with the back 50 shove it out and the feeble to back lip, the hanger didn't get in the way at all with that transfer. So I go from feeble and I push and drop down into a board slide and into a toe side lock for the hurricane. Didn't feel like the hanger was in the way, same as the feeble to back lip and the back 50 shove it out. So that concern I don't think exists. I think that's fine with these trucks. But I still do think you're gonna have to get wheels that suit these trucks. Nano cubics on these being pushed out so far would create the weirdest lock-in point with that kind of point there in the way. So now we know that these trucks are great straight off the bat, no wear in time, and they lock in really good. Obviously they do because of these lock-in grooves. Are they necessary and who's gonna benefit from them? Before I get into my opinion, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think these are necessary? Do you think it's a gimmick? Have you tried them? What are your thoughts on them? What are your experiences on them? I want to hear from you guys as well. But in my opinion, these will be very handy with someone learning how to skate rails. Having those grooves there, you're going to learn how to have your right lock-in points in cross-lock 50s, feebles, front smith, crooked grinds, all different pinch grinds. These trucks are going to help you learn them because you're going to slot straight into them. This could be a cheat code, but I ride deck rails anyway, which helps me cheat on my board slides. So I'm down for cheat codes like this that are going to benefit your skating. For someone like me, a more advanced rail skater, mostly what I do is just skate rails and ledges. These aren't necessary for me. They're not exactly going to help me learn new tricks or hold things easier either, in a sense of they're not going to change my skating completely. But these definitely feel good. They give me peace of mind knowing I'm just going to slot right in and lock in and hold these grinds. And they will make it a certain percentage easier for someone like me. So I don't need trucks like this, but I'm still going to keep running these because these are sick and they benefit my style of skating. But for someone that's more advanced, skates rails a lot, and I kind of already know how to do these tricks, it's not going to be a massive game changer for someone like me. For beginners or people struggling to lock in and trying to learn their locking points, these are going to be amazing. So that's my opinion on the lock-in grooves on the hanger. That's all I could go over today because there's so much technology and innovation packed into these trucks, so I'm going to have to go over all of that in a separate video. I was just super excited to chuck these on, test them out how they come, and see how they actually go grinding and locking in. And they passed all my tests, and I'm super impressed impressed with them. So I'm riding slappy inverted hollow trucks on my main setup, which are probably my favorite trucks that I've come across in a long time, besides the Ace AF1 hollows. But I'm gonna keep them on my main setup, and I'm gonna keep these lockers on this setup. I'm gonna have to skate this for, I think, another 6 months to properly test all of the different features that these have. There's so much that's gone into this truck that I'm gonna have to test over a long period of time. But I think I'm gonna give myself another 6-month period of riding this as my secondary board, maybe once every fortnight or once a week on my second session, just to completely test out these trucks in every aspect and give a proper detailed review on them. So let me know what you guys think of these trucks, if you like them, if you hate them, the look of them, if you've tried them before, how you like them, how you didn't like them. Stay tuned for my next video, which will probably be another 6 months from now, on a full review of these. And check out the trucks that I'm riding on my main setup that are one of my favorites in this video right here.